In 1981, Sierra released the game Soft Porn for the Apple II, one of the first adult adventure games to hit the marketplace for the burgeoning personal computer market and the only non-graphical game released by Sierra. Time featured the game in its first column on Computer Entertainment, and Sierra went on to sell 25,000 copies of the game. That figure isn't particularly spectacular until you consider that, according to Al Lowe, there were only 100,000 Apple II computers on the market at the time. Several years later, Ken Williams asked Al to take home Soft Porn and see if it could be updated to fit a modern-day storyline and use a graphical interface. Al took the game home and came back to Ken, telling him, "It's so behind the times it might as well be wearing a leisure suit." And so Larry was born. Written in 3 months and released in 1987, the game went on to sell a disappointing 4,000 copies its first month. Al moved on to bigger and better things, only to see Larry hit the top 10 solely from word of mouth 6 months later. But enough with the history already. Years later, Larry has become an icon for adventure gamers, and this is where it all started. You play the game as Larry, known in later games as Larry Laffer, looking for a night on the town with some lovely ladies using only your charm, good looks, and $94 in your pocket. It's a simple story, and rightly so. Part of the charm of the LSL series is that at heart it's just a lonely man looking for love, or sex, anywhere he can find it. LSL was written using the same AG engine used for the early games of other Sierra Quest series, so there's really nothing new or innovative here if you have played any of the other games. Backgrounds are well detailed considering the 300 by 200 screen size, and in true Sierra format all have hilarious descriptions if you look at them. The only problem with the graphics in the AG engine is that it is very easy to overlook small items that you may need later, so make sure to always do a look command when you enter a room. Sound is great considering that we're talking about a straight computer speaker soundtrack. The music is appropriately bouncy and fits the tone of the game, and there is no way you'll finish the game without catching yourself humming the theme song at least once. In 1987, game designer Al Lowe, a musician and a former school teacher, established an iconic status for himself among gamers when he created a new subgenre of computer games. He did this by successfully combining comedy, sex, and gaming into an adventure game unlike any that had ever been done before. In his creation, the male libido is symbolized by a polyester leisure suit. The game is called Leisure Suit Larry in the Land of the Lounge Lizards, and you are put in the role of Larry Laffer, a leisure suit-wearing nerd who is trying to find love in the city of lost wages, a parody of Las Vegas, that is chock full of urban lights and loose slots. Larry, a 40-year-old disco-dancing hipster, has apparently a single agenda in his mind, the search for pixelated love, and he has only a single night in this sinful city to find it. Before even playing the game, you are already given a taste of Lowe's humor in the form of a tourist pamphlet touting the Palomino Ranch and a visitor's guide to the city of lost wages that are included in the game package. Also included are an instruction manual and a dating service letter that doubles as a password legend. When the game first starts, you must complete a tongue-in-cheek age quiz which supposedly verifies that you are matured enough, or not, to play this game. There have been 2 releases of the game. The game is originally released in both 5.25-inch and 3.5 floppy disk versions, whereas the enhanced version is released only in 3.5 floppy disk version. The original version is built on the Adventure Game Interpreter (AGA) that supports only 16 colors and EGA graphics. The enhanced version, released in 1991, is a remake that uses the updated Sierra Creative Interpreter (SCI) that supports 256 colors and VGA graphics. The new engine also replaces the text-based parser from the original with an icon-driven interface. The new interface includes a number of icons on screen: walk, look, action, talk, item, inventory, system, and help. Mouse support is perfectly implemented, and joystick support is also included in the remake. The enhanced version allows the gamer to truly point and grope, as humorously touted by the game package, so that the player and the suit can finally become one and the same. The graphics are both grainy and pixelated, which strangely work in this game to give the feel of an old stag film. The game package jokingly advertises that the game is 3D, which is simply not true, but the claim is actually for the dancing, drinking, and dames in the game. From time to time when interacting with a character, a casino game, a puzzle, or an item, the camera changes from a third to a first-person view. The sound quality is low, which is more of a hardware limitation of the bygone days. Still, there is an ample soundtrack that plays intermittently throughout the game. There is little or no voice acting, with the exception of a sparse DAC here and there. In this game, your goal is to help Larry win over the women of his dreams. You must complete a number of linear tasks, all of which are not overtly difficult, which is good. This allows you to enjoy the humor without the frustration of getting stuck. You will need to solve puzzles, find items, as well as interact with a number of non-player characters. Most characters in the game harbor much distaste for Larry and his leisure suit, sometimes existing as separate, autonomous entities, including the women whom Larry meets, Fawn, Faith, and Eve, amongst others. There are many different locals Larry must venture, such as Lefty's Bar, Quirky Mart, the casino, the disco, and other night spots. You can die in this game. The many death scenes are, however, quite humorous to watch. As Larry travels around in lost wages by cab or on foot, you will find a rich and humorous story that will surely keep your attention. Larry gets to meet a lot of beautiful women in this game, though not many, if any, pay much loving attention to him. There is a lot of hidden humor that can easily be missed. This is a rather short game. When you are stuck at a dead end, you can always save and reload to restart, and the climactic ending at the end will definitely leave you wanting for more. Gameplay is typical of other AGI games, and consists of navigating Larry with your arrow keys and interacting with your environment through the use of a text parser. And let me say that this is one of the best text parsers I have seen put into a game. Not only does it understand a much larger range of words than most other titles, but Owlo went one step further to make sure that you wouldn't see as many of the "I don't understand what you're asking" messages as are present in other games, text and otherwise. Siberia. Half of the fun in LSL is typing in odd phrases just to see what the game will say in response, and it almost always has a response. Puzzles are mostly of the fetching variety, with each woman you meet needing something to satisfy her before she satisfies you. Puzzles are well done, and logical for the most part if you are in the right mindset for the game. Just be aware that, as with most Sierra adventure games, you can die if you are not careful, and often you can die even if you are. The only downside to the game is that it is rather short, and can be easily completed by an experienced gamer in a few hours. But in true Sierra fashion, the game is filled with elements that will keep you coming back to the game after it is solved. The game uses a point system that rewards for successful puzzle solving as well as for taking actions that are outside of the main story but within character, lending a sense of exploration to the otherwise static storyline. All in all, this game is a classic in the adventure game genre, and deserves to be so. But if you really want to experience this game in all of its glory, be on the lookout for the VGA remake, created in the SC engine with 256 colors and point-and-click interface, and find out why people are clamoring for the new entry in the series later this year.